After the huge success of the Castlevania chapter, players have realized that DBD is actually in one of the best spots it's been in years. And because of that, I thought I would go through the top 5 most relevant and best builds to run during the fall of 2024. These are just my 5 personal favorite builds to run, and each of these builds is useful to a certain different playstyle for Survivor. So even if our playstyles don't match up exactly, you should be able to find value out of at least one of these builds. I'm going to start off with my personal favorite, the double slowdown Chemtrap build. With Chemtrap's recent buff, you only need to complete 20% of a generator in order to get it to activate. You can trap a pallet, meaning that if the killer breaks it, they'll be slowed down. And if they do break it, you can blind them with Champion of Light in order to get them an additional hindered status effect and get you that extra sweet distance. Now, in the event that they don't want to break the pallet, you just run Finesse so that you vault 20% faster while you play the pallet, as well as Life. After you vault, you can sprint off and chain to another tile very easily. Life and Finesse are both perks that work outside of using the Chemtrap strategy, and Champion of Light is a perk that works whenever you're able to blind the killer. So this build has a lot of chemistry because independently, all of these perks work well individually as well as together. In this example, I'm actually running Exaltation instead of Life. I wanted to get more value from a perk from the Castlevania chapter, and what this perk does is just it upgrades your item rarity and gives you back charges. The same build concept applies, and honestly, you could use either perk for this build.
Finesse. Nice. Nice. Nice, nice. Cooldown is almost there. Nice. Double slowdown. Dude, the build's working. The build is working.
Next up is going to be the Dramaturgy build. If you haven't tried this build, I don't know what you're doing, because Dramaturgy is the single most underrated exhaust perk in the game. It's a gambler's addiction. Now, to mitigate some of the unfortunate consequences of using Dramaturgy, we're going to be pairing it with Vigil so that we get down our exposed cooldown and exhaust cooldown whenever we use Dramaturgy. As well as pairing Hardened into the build, we're going to have to cleanse a totem and search a chest, but any of the times Dramaturgy would force us to stream, instead we're going to see the killer's aura. And we're going to build off Hardened by using Inner Strength so that when we do cleanse a totem, it's not a total waste of time and we can just heal ourselves up whenever we want, and then give ourselves the ability to once again start using Dramaturgy. The item you're going to want to bring is a map paired with the Red Twine add-on so that you can track killer belongings, including totems, much easier. Then, whenever Dramaturgy makes you a new item, you can just leave your map behind.
We could cycle our expose. I already have a flashlight. Okay, let's cycle our expose. No, I'll see. It was a bad idea. It's okay, we can cycle it again. Vigil just lets us recycle like it's nothing. See, if you're doing a gen, you have plenty of time to use Dramaturgy, you know? And just see what happens. Passive gambling. We see him. He's over there. Passively gambling. Right, cycle out that expose. Get it out of here. And look at how fast our status effects go down. That's so nice.
Now, before I get to the other builds, I want to go ahead and insert an honorable mention. This is going to be an aura reading build, primarily built around Eyes of Belmont, which is going to extend all of our killer aura reading by 2 seconds. So it's basically Lethal Pursuer for Survivor. You also see the killer's aura whenever a generator is completed, which is very nice. Now we're going to pair this aura reading with Object of Obsession, so that every 30 seconds, we see the killer's aura for 3 seconds, and they see our aura for 3 seconds, but we actually get to see them for 5 seconds instead of 3. Then we're going to pair it with Scene Partner, a perk that whenever you see the killer, you scream and see their aura for 5 seconds, which is really going to be 7 seconds. And finally, Inner Focus. Whenever you're within range of another survivor who loses a health state, you see the killer's aura for another 5 seconds, which is really 7 seconds. And with the recent upcoming patch, this perk is actually going to be buffed so that it will not require any kind of range, and the aura duration is going to be increased to 10 seconds, which will be 12 seconds using Eyes of Belmont. Next up is going to be the anti-tunnel build. Are you one of those survivors that just seems to not be able to catch a break from the killer and just need a game where you can actually stand a chance and maybe even get your first 5-gen chase? Well, we're going to be running windows of opportunity so that you can see every window vault opportunity and every pallet throw opportunity. Pair windows with off the record so that after we're unhooked, we're going to be super quiet and have an 80-second endurance so that if the killer is tunneling us, it doesn't matter, we can just take one extra hit. I'm going to pair that with Sprint Burst as our exhaust perk, probably the best independent exhaust perk in the game, very simple to use with a very high skill ceiling. In the final perk, we're going to be running Kindred, just in case you're solo queue, so you can help communicate to your teammates where the killer is, where other survivors are, and they can better coordinate how to get gens done and come for the save. An honorable mention for this perk is going to be Decisive Strike. The reason I didn't use Decisive Strike in this build is because they kind of nerfed it way back when, and ever since, survivors seem to just not want to use the perk at all. However, they have slightly buffed it after their nerf to making it stun the killer for 4 seconds instead of 3, which is not as good as the original stun time of 5 seconds. And for that reason, I suggest using Kindred instead. But you can also swap Decisive for Off the Record, but when it gets down to it, I personally feel that Off the Record is so much better than Decisive Strike because of the bonus effect of not showing your aura to the killer, keeping your grunts completely silent, and having endurance for 80 seconds compared to Decisive for 60 seconds.
Oh, that's nice. We have our Off the Record, and we're getting tunneled now. Go ahead and slap him on the head, wrap around. He breaks, we'll continue this way. Nice. Dodge. Yeah, play that pallet like that. Yes, sir. Bam. Okay. The big boozle. The right, we get our off the record hit. Huge. Whoa. Do we make this? Okay, he eats it up. Nice. But hey, off the record value, and it just ran out anyway, so that's a full 80 seconds.
And the final build we're gonna go over today is the gen rushing build. Still an underrated build strategy that not a lot of survivors capitalize on. Hyperfocus is gonna be insanely buffing your progress when completing great skill checks. Now, to make sure we're hitting those great skill checks, we're gonna be running Stakeout so that whenever you're close to the killer and not in chase, you're gonna build up tokens, and whenever you use skill checks, it'll automatically turn them into greats. Fast Track is going to build upon this by granting you 3 tokens anytime a survivor is hooked at all. Each of these tokens is going to grant you a bonus 1% for great skill checks while we're using our hyperfocus. And finally, Deja Vu. This last perk can be changed out for any of the other great generator speed perks or toolbox charges, depending on what build you're going to go for. But the reason I selected this build is so that you can avoid one of the strongest killer strategies in today's gameplay, 3 gens. Deja Vu is going to show you the closest 3-gen there is on the map and give you bonus repair speed when trying to break that 3-gen. This way you won't have to worry about annoying Skull Merchant playstyles or Knight playstyles where they just feel like they're holding the game hostage.
Alright, we're about to get Fast Track. Oh, nice, she got the save. 2 tokens. Alright, we got our stacks. Now that we're far away, let's push this generator. We'll still get our bonus. I'm going to use my BMP too. And that counts as a great skill check, by the way. So our hyperfocus is already set up. We're using our toolbox to do faster repair speed. We have 6% due to Deja Vu. Stakeout's going to keep our hyperfocus going, and that hook got us some fast track points, which we use right there for some instant progression. Stakeout clutching again. Yeah, as the skill checks get faster, they get more common and they get more difficult. Alright, we're now at max hyperfocus. Boom. Not sure what the time was on that gen, but it was fast. And 4th stack. And he DCs.
And with that, those are the 5 most relevant and most powerful survivor builds and strategies to use during the fall of 2024. Let me know in the comments which build you liked the most and if I missed a specific build that a lot of survivors are trying. Until next time, adios.